So decision tree is in R. So what is a decision tree? Decision tree is more or less like a flow chart like structure that makes decision. So by asking a series of questions about features, splitting them into various homogeneous groups. So now this is an example of a decision tree. Now we have our data, which is a diabetes data. I want to classify patients into diabetes or not diabetes. So we are going to start with a particular feature. So let's say we're starting with glucose. Is it greater than 140? Yes or no? So if the glucose is greater than 140, we know maybe from literatures is one of the conditions that causes diabetes, high glucose level. Then we cannot continue from that place. Okay, since it's greater than 140, is the person greater than 50 or not? Since we know that elderly people are more susceptible to diabetes. So you could also say the person not greater than, if the person is greater than 50, also continue from there. Does they have diabetes or not? So this is how a decision tree actually works. So we start with the various questions and we split the data based on a single feature and threshold. So the tree structure is just basically like this. We have the root node, usually the first split, and usually includes all patients. Then we have the internal nodes, which is intermediate splits. Then we have branches which represent various decision rules, and we have leaf nodes, which are the final predictions, disease or no disease. So reading a tree. So when you are reading a tree, follow the path from the roof to leaf based on a patient's futures, whereby each patient travels down one path and receives the prediction of their leaf. So if you want to build a decision tree using the classification and regression trees algorithm, you have to start with all patients at the root. Then you consider all possible splits on all features. Then you now choose the split that best separates disease from healthy patients. So we're going to be repeating this for each resulting subset. Then you stop when a stopping criterion is met. So after you're already splitting on various features, then you choose the split that best separates disease from healthy patients. Then you repeat it continuously for each resulting subset. So the splitting criteria usually is what we call the Gini impurity. It measures how mixed the groups are. And also the information gain measures reduction in entropy. So our goal is actually create pure nodes of disease or of LD. So the Gini impurity of 0 means that particular feature is pure. But if you have above 0, so the lower it is, the purer it is that particular feature, which means if, for example, we have the outcome of diabetes now, I have everybody to be diabetic. So we can say the Gini impurity is what? 0. But if we have it mixed, diabetes and not diabetics, then we can say we have 50-50 split. The Gini impurity is going to be 0.5 in this case. So the Gini impurity just basically measures how mixed a group is. So using the Gini impurity at each split, the algorithm calculates the weighted average Gini after the split and chooses the split that minimizes it. So for example, now we have a before split 60 diseased, 40 healthy. So the Gini you have of 0.48. So after this is for example on glucose now. So after we split on glucose greater than 140, then you can find out that on the left branch we have 50 diseased, 10 healthy. That is, we're already splitting on glucose now. So we have a Gini of 0.30. Because now, first of all, we have already splitted our database on disease and LD, 60 disease and 40 healthy. So in each of those particular group now, from the 60, we now grouped it into the left branch. So from this particular 60 now, which is our left branch now, we now group based on glucose greater than 140. We have 50 diseased, we have 10 healthy. And also on the healthy, we grouped it also, which is the right branch, 10 diseased, 10 healthy. So based on the glucose level of greater than 140, that's what we are using now. So you can see on the left branch, we have a Gini of 0.3. Right branch, we have 0.38. So which means this place is better mixed compared to this place. So you now can now take the weighted average Gini. So you can see that when you take the weighted average Gini, 0.3 plus 0.38. So when you add it, you're going to be having 0.68. And when you take 0.68 divided by 2, then you have 0.34. You can see that now, after splitting on glucose, you can see it is better compared to when we split on diseased. So this is how we use the Gini to be able to calculate the impurity on each branch. So tree pruning. So we have what we call tree pruning. So whereby if we don't prune a tree, then these trees can grow until each leaf has just one patient remaining, which is which is a perfect training accuracy but terrible overfitting, because it's not necessarily we have something like that inside our testing data. So we have to stop our decision tree early. So first of all, we need to set the maximum tree depth and also the required minimum patients per leaf. What should be the required minimum number of patients that we should have per leaf, and also the required minimum improvement for a split. So there are various strategies used for pruning. Pruning just more or less like what? Making sure the tree doesn't grow beyond our imagination. So we don't want to be having one patient remaining when we are trying to create our decision trees. So we have to grow a full tree, then remove branches that don't improve validation performance, and also cause complexity, pruning branches, tree size with accuracy. What are the strengths of the decision trees? First of all, it's highly interpretable. It can visualize and explain decisions. It also handles both numerical and categorical features. It doesn't require features. The feature scaling is not needed. It also captures nonlinear relationships. It automatically performs feature selection, and it handles missing values reasonably well. So some of the limitations is that it is prone to overfitting, high variance, also unstable. Small data changes can create very different trees. It's also biased towards features with many levels. And you can also create overly complex trees. You can create trees that are too complex, and you might not even achieve the best predictive accuracy. So feature importance in trees. So decision trees actually rank feature importance based on how much each feature improves the gain impurity across all splits. So you just calculate the gain impurity, and the decision trees, that gain impurity is very important in telling you how each feature is important when you are splitting your data. So I'm trying to interpret the feature importance. So features at the top of the tree are generally more important, and features that are never used in the split usually have zero importance. So importance score sums to 100%. So identifying that glucose is the most important feature for the diabetes prediction confirms medical knowledge and build trust in the model. So when you have because decision trees actually shows the feature importance. So when you look at the topmost feature, it allows you to give a lot of information regarding your data. Yeah, this particular feature is very important in classifying patients of this particular disease.